All right, welcome back. And now we're going to get into registration. And I was kind of thinking in between these videos, like we might not even actually need a login screen or register screen. We could do this potentially all in these modals. We'll see, but let's get the registration part working. So I'm just going to close everything here. We'll actually log out because we need to do that in order to test this. And we'll use the same sort of guard. So we have this sign up page here. Let's go to our login form component, which we renamed nicely. And I'm going to copy all this because it's going to be pretty similar. And we're going to make another component called register form component.dart, and we'll paste that in. And we'll just rename every instance of login. Oh, I realized something here. Let's also just change this to login form component state, just so it kind of does the same thing. And I'm just going to recopy this again, paste it in. And yeah, we'll make this. Now we can just do this, and we can rename it to register form component. So for this, our registration, let's just look at the provider for this. Our auth provider, do we have it in here yet? We have login with email. We do not. What we do, we should have our, I know we have a way to register. So what does this use? It's the auth service provider, right? Let's look at our auth service provider, or our auth service rather. And we have register. So we need email, password, and username. So let's actually just copy email and have a username controller. And let's rename this and have this also called username. We'll keep these in the same order. So it'll be email, username, password. And we'll come back to that right there. So we'll have email, but then we're going to have another one, which will not be autofocus. We don't want two autofocus. That will be confusing. And we'll call this just username. Now for this, do we have a form validator for username yet? We do. How does that work? So this makes sure it's required, and then we have is valid username, which is just checking. This is a regular expression that's going to be checking for things we'd expect in the username. Minimum 3 characters, max 20. So lowercase letters, uppercase letters, 0 through 9, and then also underscores and dashes. That's all we want. Okay, great. Then now what we need to do in our auth provider itself is I'm going to copy this because it will also be pretty similar. We'll do it just after login, and we'll have, we're going to call it register with email. And the reason we have this with email is because we are eventually going to allow people to sign up with like Google and Apple, and not Facebook though. I will never add Facebook sign into another app because it is a nightmare. And once you do it, you're kind of stuck. Okay, so this we actually do register with email instead of that. And you'll see we have email, password, but we also need a username. So let's do that, which means we, of course, need to require a string of username. See, I'm keeping these in the same order. Obviously, it's not necessary, but it's nice to just keep things in a similar way. Okay, so we do this, and then I think all the logic is the same because, oh, actually, no, it is going to be a little bit different because I think our registration requires us to actually, instead of going to success, do we have this auth state already? Auth state verification code required. So, and what does this need? Because remember with this, okay, we're going to pass email and password. So let's do that. Email, password. Because with Serverpod, and in fact, like this is just good practice, you kind of want to have, when people sign up with email, we want to verify that they have their email. So what is going to happen is we're going to, instead of changing it to like success, we are going to change it to something else. Now this actually, would this be a user at this point? Oh, I see. Okay, hang on. We actually don't need all this anymore. I'm getting rid of all this because we're actually not going to do this. This is actually going to be, okay, we have a, this is just a void thing, so we can do this. Because yeah, what does this return? This returns either string, meaning an error happened, or nothing. So here we actually are going to go like this. Okay, so it's a little bit simpler. Basically, we're going to try and register them, and assuming it was a success, that means that a code was sent to their email. So we change it to this. We are passing these through so that we can then just log them in after, rather than have to get them to log in again. And we'll see that all working soon. Okay, so there's our register with email, and then our register form component, same kind of thing, register with email. And we need to, of course, pass in the username. So let's get our username controller.text, and we will trim this one too, because we don't want a space in the username. And actually, our validator will probably already fix that, but we'll just keep it extra safe. Okay, close in a bunch of stuff, and we're going to open up our authguard modal again. And where's our login? So here, I'm just going to get this column, and because we have this lovely to-do. And here, we're going to do the same thing, except we'll make this say create account. And okay, so we do that. What did this do? Oh, that just goes back, yeah. And then instead of login form component, we change this to register form component, import it, and we should be pretty good. Okay, cool. Awesome. Now our register form component, we have, this is the ref.listen, we're returning this form. Now, what we can also check is we can go if, what is this, where do we get the state? If ref.watch auth state, auth state provider, wait, what is this thing called? Sorry, just auth provider is, and again, our auth provider, if we click through, can have a few different states. Let's look at our auth state. We want to check if it's that auth state verification code required thing here. We're going to return something different here. And I'm just going to do to-do, and we should be good. Okay, cool. All right. Let's just test this out. Let's make sure our register form, because we didn't actually look at this. So we're checking if it's success. We don't really want to say welcome back. We just want to say welcome because they just made an account. They're not coming back. This is their first time. And then we'll do that, and that's fine. We may end up getting rid of this and just always making this a required field if we end up deciding we're not going to have a, we're not going to do this outside of the modals, but we'll keep it for now. Okay, so let's try click sign up, and nothing happens. That's because our sign up button needs to do exactly what our login button does, or almost exactly. So we want this to go, instead of that, to register. Save that, click sign up. Now we have our create account. So let's use, oh, look at that. It's typing both at the same time. That's amazing. So that's an easy mistake to make when you're copying and pasting stuff. Let's go back to our register form component, and it's just the controller. It's using email controller here, but here we need to use username controller. Okay, cool. So I'm going to give myself an email address. I'm going to use today's date, which at the time of this recording is August 4th at tylersavory.com. August 4th, and try to go. Now this says login there. I'm going to change this to just say register. Register. I won't save it yet. So that's going to say register at some point. And then we'll click this. And now we have this lovely to-do. If we go, we actually see here we got a code from our thing. Oh, it's interesting. It's letters and numbers. I thought it was always just numbers. I wonder why. Let's just take a look at that. Server.dart. Do we configure it to auth config? It used to just, I swear, it used to just be numbers. Wait, auth config. Let me see what's inside the auth config. Password reset. Send validation email. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Letters are fine. We can work with letters. Okay. So I'll just undo that stuff. We have register now. Okay, so now what we need is we actually need another controller here. So let's call this, do we call it validation code or verification code? Verification code. Verification code controller. And in this case, instead of returning to do, obviously, we're going to return a form. I believe we can still use the same form key. Actually, I don't know. I don't think we can. So let's have, oops, let's copy this, move it down just to kind of keep these things separate. This could, in theory, be its own component. The reason I'm doing it this way is it means like whether we're doing things on the screen or in this modal or whatever, we can, just manage the state of this independently and not have to like redo this logic. So we'll call this verification form key. So let's grab that. Key is going to be verification form key, and child will be a similar thing. We'll have a column, and we'll do this, and we'll add a semicolon here. Okay, it's children. We're going to have essentially a, let's just grab this text form field, and we'll just use our form validator not empty. And in this case, we actually have to pass it the normal way because we actually need to put in a specific label. And we'll just call this verification code. And obviously for our controller, we'll use verification control. And I think in this case, we also probably want to put some text here that says, check your email for a verification code. Something like that. Then, of course, we will have an elevated button at the bottom. So I'll just grab this guy underneath all this stuff. And we'll just make it maybe say submit. And yeah, we'll still validate, but we don't want to validate form key. We want to validate our verification form key state. And do we have, I don't think we have a thing for this yet. So let's go to our auth provider, or it's our auth service rather. We should have something, register with email, confirm email registration. So let's, I'm just going to grab this one and we'll call it confirm email register. We can keep it the same. And this requires the email to be passed in, but it also requires a verification code to come through too. So here we would do this. Confirm this. We want to pass in our verification code as the verification code. Now over here, yeah, result.full, what would this return? Either this or user info. So here's where we would kind of do what we did in our login. If we get the user info, we want to, of course, still call our API to get all of the user data, not just the one that Serverpod has. We want our normal profile. So we're essentially going to take this and inside here, instead of just setting the state, we are going to get our user result.me. Does our confirm email actually log them in? Create account. I'm not sure if it does. We might still have to log them in. Register, create account. What does this actually return? It might actually log them in. We will find out. So we confirm the email. We go like this. If there's an error, cool. If everything's success, what is this supposed to be? This is user info. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to get it this way. Oh, I see. I think what we did before is we had user. Okay. No, I think this will work. Let's find out. So now in our register form component, instead of calling this, we're going to call our, oh, I guess I didn't copy that. I think it's called the same as this, confirm email register. And email, we're going to pass in. So we actually have access to email in here because we're capturing it inside this right here. So we should be able to go ref.read. Actually, let's capture this maybe. I'm just going to grab this and make something called auth state is equal to this. So we'll go here, ref.watch auth state. Okay. So if it is equal to that, so I think right here we should be able to go auth state email, yep, but that's not, I think we actually pass it like email like this. What's the other thing? And then the code, verification code, we need to actually pass our verification code controller.text. Okay, cool. So we just fire that off, and then this should take care of the rest, because if we get the auth state success, we will essentially call on success. And just to be sure, our on success of register is just going to pop. All right. So let's try this from scratch. I should not be logged in. Let's make sure. Yep, we're not. Explore. We're going to try and add something. We're going to go sign up. We're going to go and use August 4th B. So I think this is going to work unless we actually have to force log them in. B. And we'll go register. So we get a verification code. This will come just through here for now. Eventually we'll hook up an email. Paste it in. There we go. Submit. Okay, we got an internal server error. What is that? Duplicate key found, unique constraint, user PK. Oh, great. We have a lovely server error here. So on the create account, let's figure that out. Okay, so that is, oh, but this is the built-in one. Oh, you know what? It's probably something, so we have something on user created. We're checking, yeah, I think this is the problem. User info ID, okay, user. Okay, what did it say? It says create account, duplicate key on user P key. We're supposed to be inserting a row, which should just remember what our user info looks like. User info has an ID. I'm not sure what this is then. Okay, so I just tried it again, printing stuff, and it worked. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe I needed to restart something. I'm just gonna keep that in case it happens again. But let's just keep moving forward. Okay, so on success, didn't seem like that got called is the only problem, because we should have popped out when that success happened. And you know why? It's probably because we're not actually logged in. Let's see. Yeah, that is the problem. Okay, so essentially what we need to do in our auths, possibly in the service, okay, so we confirm the email. What does this get us back? We have an email, but we don't have the password. Register with email. I think I'm going to require the password to get passed in here too, which kind of seems weird. But then what it will allow us to do is, assuming everything went correctly, we can actually call our register signed in user. I think it's, oh, wait, where's this come from? We just authenticate them. So we can actually just, I think, call the login, which actually this works out great. We can, I think, if everything went well, we can return login with email. I think we have to return the asynchronous version of this. And then login with email requires us to pass in an email, password, and password, because they actually have the same shape. Both of them will return an either string or user info. Okay, so let's try that. And if we do the login with email, the good thing about that is it actually will go through and do the authentication and then register them as signed in, which should allow this to work. Okay, now our auth provider is requiring us to pass in a password. And this is why we were thinking ahead, because I think we have access to the password somewhere. Oh, we probably need to do the same thing. Sorry, not here. Okay, let's require a password to be passed in here. So then, cool, password. Now we're going to have an error somewhere else. If we go to our problems, it's requiring password. And here, I think for password, we should be able to just use auth state.password. There we go. Okay, great. Let us restart. We should be logged out. We are. We're going to go here. We're going to click this. We're going to go click here. We're going to go sign up. And let's use August 4th C. This is just my trick to have unique names. And we'll click register. Could not create account. What was the problem there? Oh, it's already taken. D. There we go. Now we get a code. I'd like to make these numbers. I think a number is easier to type in, especially in like an app. Allow paste, but for now this is fine. And there we go. And then we got carried through. Like it's working exactly like login. That's amazing. Yay, go us. And if I go here, we should see that I am logged in. Amazing. Okay, cool. That is awesome. Okay, the last thing I think I want to do in this little video is we had a little problem where it just told us we couldn't log in without better detail. And we could kind of make this really nice for our users, where when they actually try to register, it can actually check before we do the normal form validation. It can check and see if that user exists. So let's go to the server side. We haven't done much in server side yet in these last couple of videos. We're just going to remove that. And user endpoint, yeah, this is probably a good place to do it. Let's have a future, and this will return, I think, just a bool. And let's just call it email exists. It'll be async. And we'll just make a email, or sorry, the first thing needs to, of course, be session, but the second parameter, we'll make it a string called email. And what we'll do is we'll go final user equals await user.db.find first row. And we pass in our session, but we need to do a where clause here. We're going to do where row. I'm going to say row dot, I think we use user info dot email dot equals email. I'm going to do email dot trim just on this, just to make sure we're passing up something good. And is there just an exists on here? I don't know if there is, but this will return a nullable user, and basically we want to return user does not equal null. So this will return true if the user was found. If not, maybe we'll call this actually email is available, and then what we actually would do is return it like this. Similarly, we can do something for username. So username is available. Okay, we go we find the first row, but instead of email, we want to check userinfo.username equals, change this to username, and we'll trim that as well. Yeah, this looks pretty enough to me. And the same kind of thing. So for that, now we need to run our generate, because we've added 2 more functions, serverpod generate. And we're getting this lovely warning. Oh, wait, is serverpod CLI? Oh, because sorry, I actually updated my serverpod CLI. We should probably actually just do this now. Oops, I don't care about that. We're going to change this to 202. We're upgrading serverpod, everyone. 202, 202. There should be more of this, though. Let's just open all of our pub specs. Which one's this? Oh, right, I'm just in the server right now. Okay, that's fine. Let's also go to our Flutter and go to our pubspec.yaml. And we want to change this to 2.02, 2.02, whatever I'm saying. And we do need to also do the same to the client. So I'm just going to open up the client temporarily. We usually don't have this open. Usually you don't need it open, except if you're installing something new or upgrading, which we're doing right now. Okay, so we've changed everything to 202. I've got VS Code doing its thing, so we should be fine. Okay, so let's rerun our generator just in case. And we should see those warnings gone. So far, so good. Cool, no warnings. We are great. Let's close this. We don't need you. All right, so now we have these new lovely endpoints. Now to work with this, we're going to go back to our register form component. Now, unfortunately, we can't simply make this part of our validator for, where are we? For the email and username, because the validator functions can't be asynchronous. There need to be synchronous functions. So what we can actually do, we'll do our normal validation here, and we'll make this async, because what we're going to want to do here is actually check a couple things. Now, we could just, write the code here and make it really nasty, but of course, this is probably something that fits really well into our auth provider, and specifically inside our auth service. So let's actually go to our auth service and start there. let's put it before logout. So this will be a future, I guess, yeah. I don't think we need, okay, what could go wrong? Obviously the network could be a network problem. Yeah, maybe we should still do this kind of the same way. So we'll return a string, which would be the error, or a bool that, will define whether it is email is available. Make it async. And of course, string email. So let's go final result. Is that the word we're using? Yeah, result. Result equals, we'll wait the, here we want to use, oh wait, this is less than auth. I mean, yeah, I guess it's still auth service. Like this is to do with authentication, but that's fine. But do we have access to the client in here? We do. Okay, cool. So we should be good. So we just do await client dot user, because that's where we did the endpoint dot email is available, and pass in that email. So this right here is going to be a Boolean, and we want to, I guess that's where our try catch would come in. So we'll return left e.toString in case something goes wrong. I don't think anything can go wrong here other than a network issue. And then for this, we return right the result. So this could be true, could be false. Okay, let's do the same thing for our username is available. And change this to username. Change this to username. And change this to username is available. And okay, we do that. Same kind of thing. Okay, cool. Now in our service provider, or our auth provider, we will put these also similar down here. So this will be a future, I wonder if we want to return a string. I think we just return a bool. In this, you know what? I don't think because, okay, our provider, basically what it deals with is it's like calling our service and then it's updating the state accordingly. I think in this case, we don't necessarily need to tie this into the provider. We can actually just go ref.read, and we can use our auth service provider, and then we can actually call email available. So here, let's actually, since we'll be using these in multiple places, final email equals this, final username equals this. And just to keep the pattern, we'll do the same with password. But password we don't want to trim because a space is valid in a password, even at the end or start. Okay, so that means now we can actually kind of take email and put it here. Username and put it here, and password and put it here. Clean stuff up a bit. Okay, so we want to now go if, and we actually have to, let's actually email available equals this. So this will be a, because that's, okay, yeah, that's actually fine. Yeah, okay, so let's have that. And if not email available, we have to actually fold this. Email available, let's call it email available result, and then we'll go email available result dot fold on left, on right. So an error might have gone wrong. In that case, we have a toastutils dot message, and let's actually just send the error like this. Otherwise, we have something, and we'll call it just email available. This will be the Boolean. And let me just see something. Does this, if I return here and return here, yeah, that's okay. That's actually a problem. I think I'm going to go back to kind of what I was saying. I don't think here we need, I don't think we need to have this as an either. Let's just have a bool. Because really, if something goes wrong, we should probably just say it's not available. Because like if your internet's down, you're not going to, you're going to have a problem anyways. So let's just do this, and we'll return false if something, went wrong. Similar here, we'll just return result. Meaning we could just actually return the await of this instead of casting it to a value. Yeah, that's simple enough. Okay, so now email available result is actually a bool, so we can actually just call it this. This just simplifies everything. If email available, if not email available, we want to do something. That's cool. And then what will we do here? Well, we definitely want to return out. We don't want people going. And we could, do something where we, show the message right under this. That would probably be the ideal thing, which is kind of how the validation utilities work. I think there might be a way to do this, though. Let's just see if we can. Email controller dot validation dot build text span. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could just kind of set an error on it, like a custom error. I see this build text span. What the heck is that? Build text span. Oh, you definitely don't want that. Okay, let's go to our good friend ChatGPT here. And in Flutter, is there a way outside the normal form state form key? I'll just copy this whole thing. To manually add an error. Ideally, without using a stateful widget. That would be ideal. Okay. Without using, Okay, well, there's our validation, yeah. Error text custom function to set it. What? This doesn't make any sense. Updating the error manually. This does not seem right to me. Okay, what we're going to do instead is we're going to use our toast utils dot message and actually show email not available. All right, and we do want to wrap this in a context dot mounted so that we don't crash the app. Okay, so similarly, here we go. We do this, but we change it to username available and pass in the word username. Then we want to check if the username is not available. We'll say username not available and return out. All right, let's test that guy out. So we go here. Oh, is our server not running? Our server's not running. Let's get our server started. Look at that spinning wheel of death. It's terrible. Okay, let's try again. Profile. We are not logged in. Great. So let's try signing up. And I'm going to use Tyler3 because I know this one exists. And let's just make it still valid. So we'll just call it Tyler3 something. And we'll click register. So we get email not available. Okay, that's good. If I change this to Tyler77, let's just use Tyler here. Oh, I guess that either something went wrong with our check or that one doesn't actually run. We passed in username. Username came from username controller, yeah. Let's make sure that this username is available. And in our user endpoint, we're saying where username is equal to username. Okay, maybe that one didn't actually exist. Okay, cool. Well, might as well finish the process. Submit. There we go. Okay, cool. That seems to be working now. I mean, it must have, because we can look at our database. Let's see. All right, let's open up our OpenMic database. Let's look at the user info, Serverpod user info. Oh, we have, does one of these have a space or something? Like, how do we have two with the same username? I thought username was a, that's fishy. Hang on, what's the other, is there another model here? This is our model, which that's just a reference to things, like that's fine. Yeah, Serverpod user info. I thought that username was a unique field. I guess it's not. So is this more like the display name then? More things to find out. Regardless, like that should have this should have done something. This should have thrown an error. Our code should have thrown an error, even if Serverpod doesn't care. What did we do wrong? So we read this, we await it, username is available, passing in username, which is just our username controller, which this is the one being used, right? That's so strange. Okay, so that goes through there, and if it's not available, we return out. We show that message and we return out. So what is wrong with this then? Username available, username is available. This is our generated code for that. Call username is available. Okay. What the heck is going on? Let's do a little test here. Let's go, we'll keep that open, we might need it. Let us just go to our, do we have anything on the screen yet? Okay, let's go to our venue root screen. And let's just run some tests. Rather than going through this whole process, we're going to go ref.read auth service provider dot username is available, and let's just put the word Tyler here. We're going to await that. Final available equals that. We're just going to return out of this, not run that code, and literally print the word avail. There's just an easy way to test it rather than going through that whole process, which I think is good. It says it's not available. Okay, let's change it to Tyler, like something I know that is available. It says available. So what went wrong there? How did that leak through? Maybe I just didn't save a file. Let's look at our database again. Okay, let's try something with like Tyler 2. False. Okay, I don't know. I must have just not saved something or something weird happened. Who knows? But this is definitely working. So yeah, if not username available, we run that. Okay, well, I'm happy. It's working. If it comes up again, we'll figure it out. Or if anyone watching this is like, oh, I know what you did wrong, let me know. Let's get rid of some files we don't need here, clean this up, and we're going to commit some code because I didn't I don't think in the last couple of videos. Now, just a reminder for people watching, currently this is a closed source project. This is not a public GitHub repo. However, if you sign up as a member on my YouTube channel, you will have access to this. You just have to come join the Discord. There'll be a post about how to do that if you're a member, and in the Discord, I'll be able to invite you. And then you can follow along, a bit more and see the code and use it to your liking. So we're going to commit some stuff. We have our register working. We also did some like auth guards. We probably did a bunch of other stuff too. that's good enough for me. And we'll push that stuff through, and we will call it a day on this video. Thank you for hanging out, watching. This thing's coming along nice, and although we will still come back to auth at some point, we need to have our forgot password. We need to do our signing up with like Google and Apple. I think we're good for auth for now. We at least have the proper flow of logging in and logging out. So that'll be nice. We'll get back to something even more fun next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. See you in the next one.